Today we're going to do lesson 1.3, solving equations with variables on both sides. It's going to be a lot of the same steps, but we have to worry about variables on both sides of the equation, and that's what we're going to worry about first. So get your notebook out, have your pencil ready. You shouldn't need a calculator. Most of the math is fairly easy. But definitely write down the problem and do it with me so that you get used to it. If you need to pause the video, please do. So we're going to start, divide our equation down the middle. Notice that we have x's on both sides of the equation. We have to add or subtract the x's to get all of them on one side. And I would recommend doing it so that you have positive x's. If you can avoid having negative variables at any point in time, that would be great. So here they're subtracting 2x, so I'm going to add the whole 2x to both sides. So these would cancel out, leaves me with 15 on this side. A negative 7x plus 2x gives me a negative 5x. Now I'm down to just having my variable on one side of the equation. So now it's either a multi-step or single-step equation, and you should be able to solve it. X times a negative 5, so I'm going to divide by a negative 5 on both sides. X equals a negative 3. So first step, get your variables on one side of the equation. I don't care which side it is, just get them on one side of the equation. Okay, write down the problem. I divide it in half. I have a positive 6n and I have a positive 4n, so I know I'm going to subtract. If I subtract 6n from both sides, I'm going to end up with a negative number. So I don't want to do that. So let's instead subtract 6n, oops, sorry, see, I tried doing it again. Try this again. Subtract 4n from both sides of the equation. So now I get 2n minus 1. These cancel out, leaves me with my negative 5. Now it's a multi-step equation. Get rid of the addition and subtraction first. I'm going to add 1 to both sides. 2n equals a negative 4. Divide by 2. N equals a negative 2, and there's my answer. Again, you can plug it back in, plug the negative 2 back in. 6 times negative 2 gives me a negative 12, minus 1 gives me negative 13. 4 times a negative 2, this gives me a negative 8, minus 5 gives me a negative 13. Both sides match. I know I did it correctly. Write down the problem. If you want to pause the video and try doing it by yourself first, be my guest. Here we go. I've got a 4a and I have a minus 2a. So I'm going to add 2a to both sides again to make sure that I keep things positive. So 6a minus 7 equals 5. Now I've got a multi-step equation, so I'm going to add 7 to both sides. 6a equals 12, divide by 6, a equals 2. And again, we have 8 minus 7 gives me 1, 5 minus 4 gives me 1, we're good to go. Okay, bigger problem. First thing we have to do is the distributive property. This one's going to take up quite a bit of work. So here we go. Distribute the negative 2, so I get a negative 2x, negative and negative, I get a positive 10, equals, now I'm going to do the same thing over here, 6 times 2 is 12, minus half of 6 is 3x, so there goes the fraction, it's already gone. Have a negative 2 and a negative 3. I could add 2x but to this side, to both sides actually, but this would still leave me with a negative 1. So I'm not going to do that. I don't want a negative x. So instead, I'm going to add 3x to both sides because that's going to leave me with 1x or just plain x plus 10 equals 12. Subtract 10 from both sides, x equals 2. So first you need to simplify it down, get your variables all on one side, and then solve it like you normally would, either a single step or a multi-step equation. Again, write down the problems, do them by yourself, pause the video, and then come back and check to see how you did. Divide it in the half. I'm not going to subtract 2u because that would leave nothing on that side, and I don't want that. So I am going to I'm going to add 3u to both sides. 25 left on this side. This cancels out. This leaves me with 5u. Divide by 5 on both sides. U equals 5. Decimals. Still do the same thing. Nothing different with decimals. I'm going to subtract the 2.5. Why? Because that's going to give me a positive. So I get 6 equals 4.5 minus 2.5 just leaves me with 2y. Again, kind of nice. The decimals disappeared. Add 1 to both sides. I get 7 equals 2y. Divide by 2. Now I get decimals or fractions back. 3.5, 3 5/10. I don't care which way you do it. Still the same. Last one. Write it down. Solve it. Pause the video. And then come back and see how we did. Going to start with the distributive property. So 6 times 4 is 24. Minus 6z equals 2z. Again, I'm going to leave the 2z. I'm going to add 6z. Keeps it positive. Gets them all on one side. 24. 2z plus 6z is 8z. Z, not an x. Divide by 8. Z equals 3. And again, if you come back in here, z minus 3 is 1. So 6 times 1 is 6. 2 times 3 is 6. We know we did it correctly. By all means, if you have questions, feel free to message me and we can go over some. Your homework, kind of a little bit of everything. So this is the one you are working on today. The lesson or the worksheet is in GoFormative right underneath this video. You also have the 1.1 and 1.2 worksheets in GoFormative that you can be working on. But the big part that I want to make sure you get finished is all of your exponents unit. All your GoFormative assignments, your test should be done. I've already taken that out. And then your project, all by Thursday. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, good luck and have a great day.